Hello, everyone. We are looking at the 1996 World Chess Championship, the Fide variation, which took place in Elista between Kamsky and Anatoly Karpov. Once again, to reiterate, at this time there were two World Chess Championships. One was the PCA or Professional Chess Association World Championship held by Garry Kasparov, basically his own organization, along with Nigel Short. They broke away from Fide in 1993. Um, with because of a dispute as far as the venue being chosen, and that's just the basic answer. But there's more than that. And to find out about that, you can see in detail. You can see the match under my playlist between Nigel Short and Boris Golko. Um, but anyway, so you had Kasparov had the the PCA World Championship, and as a result, Timman and Karpov played a match. Jan Timman, they were the runner-ups and the candidates previous because when Nigel Short became challenger for the world title against Garry Kasparov, he had defeated Anatoly Karpov in a match. And in the candidates, if Short didn't win that match in 1993, you would have saw another Kasparov-Karpov match. So we thank God for Short winning that match, um, or whoever you want to think. Your lucky stars, all that stuff. But so and Jan Timman was a runner-up. Jan Timman had lost to Karpov, so basically they Short and Kasparov take off, form their own organization, and Fide says, "Hey, we need a world champion." So they dust off Karpov, dust off Jan Timman. They have a match. Karpov defeats Timman and becomes the Fide world champion again in 1993. So this match between Kamsky represents that variation of the world championship. This is game 16 we're going to discuss. The last decisive game was game 14. And this match had a lot of decisive games. If you want to start from the beginning, just feel free to go to the playlist and look up the Karpov-Kamsky match. But right now we're in game 16. And game 14 was a fabulous win by Karpov in the end game, getting the exact type of position that he wanted out of the opening, which is these type of positions. Karpov is black, fighting against the isolated pawn, perfect pawn structure, and just maneuvering real solidly. Opponent trying to play dynamically and break through, in the process weakening himself. And then we had this fantastic ending where Karpov just showed his class with this opposite color bishops ending with these two pawns far enough away in this position. Kamsky had to resign. And the play could have went like this, for instance, Kamsky with the white pieces. So the king is tied up, blocking one pawn, and the bishop is forced to try to stop the other one. Of course, that's a no-go because the bishop has to give itself up, and that would be a clear, easy win as his pawn is protected. So after this move, after bishop takes g4, Kamsky resigned. Again, bad opening choice by Kamsky. For some reason, he selected the Nimzo Indian instead of just going back to the Queen's Indian, which brought him victory in Game 10. Now, Game 15, Karpov with the white pieces. Kamsky switches openings once again and tries the modern Benoni. Of course, being in this desperate match situation, he needs to get some wins. And Karpov, it seems like Kamsky has tried almost every opening as black this match versus D4. He's played the Grunfeld several times to no avail with several losses. King's Indian, Queen's Indian. I believe he tried the Semi-Slav. And now here we are in the Benoni. So he's really mixing it up against Karpov. But Karpov was able to stifle his opponent's activity. And this is basically the spirit of the Benoni. If you're playing white, you're trying to it's kind of like position play versus dynamic play. Black is trying to be real active, and white is just trying to calm things down. So after 42 moves, game 15 was agreed drawn. Now, Kamsky now in game 16 had the white pieces, and here we go. He had a chance to redeem himself. So after c4, e6, this time knight f3. This is what he won with in game 10. Give Karpov the Queen's Indian, not Nimzo. So he learned from that, and he goes back to what brought him the victory. g3. And now we see this bishop a6 variation from Karpov. Bishop b4 check. Bishop d2. This is all stuff that's even played now. Actually, Karyakin plays this stuff. Bishop g2, c6. Bishop c3, d5. Knight e5. Knight f d7. Knight takes d7. Knight d2. Castles, castles, and rook c8. All right. Now this is the main continuation at the time. In games 3 and 13, Kamsky actually chose the move rook b8 when Kamsky tried this out as black. e4. And now c5 from Karpov. Other continuations are b5. Right, b5 is possible. D takes e4 and d takes e4. All right. Now, just notice the position Karpov has again is the black pieces. Again, he has no problems really giving up a little bit of space as long as he has a nice solid pawn structure position. So c5, e takes, d takes, d takes c4. Alright, so this is all theory in the 90s. c6, and the idea behind that is after, the simple knight takes c4, after rook takes c5, it was thought that black just simply equalizes. And it looks like that if you look at the position, although there might be a little initiative that maybe white can generate after bishop b4, but it might not be enough to really mean anything. So c6, c takes b3, and now rook e1. Bishop b5, a takes b3, and bishop takes c6. So here's Karpov keeping that beautiful pawn structure. It's black. Bishop takes c6, rook takes c6. And now rook takes a7, so material is even. Bishop f6, knight c4. This is a novelty, not this time, but Karpov introduced this move into high level practice back in the days in 1993 against Belyavsky actually. Previously, knight e4 was played. Knight e4, bishop takes, rook takes d7, and queen c8. So knight c4, bishop takes c3, rook d7, queen f6, rook e4. And Karpov pretty much, it looks like he doesn't have anything to worry about in the position. It's highly symmetrical, but white's pieces are a little more active, so he just has to be careful. Basically, he has to just watch out for tactical blows. And as we discussed before, if Karpov had any weakness throughout his career, it's being susceptible to tactical blows in drawish looking positions. Like positions just like this, where there's just a little bit of piece activity in the position, but if you make the right moves, you should be all right. These are the positions where Karpov would say relax and then get caught out there with something. Here, Karpov plays the move Queen F5. Okay. Now, Bishop B4, just covering the F8 square is probably better. Definitely better than a game continuation. Maybe 95 or something like that. 95. Rook E6. Knight G4. And I'm showing these moves to show that white has like a nagging initiative. Like black has to be careful. Okay, even though there's a lot of symmetry in the position, white's pieces are better. So white it can kind of nag black, but black can navigate his way through this. He just has to be careful about it. So for instance, after knight G4, queen C3, and then white can get then white can get that little isolated pawn as an extraction out of black. Out as a concession, and but it should be all right here. After queen F5, Kamsky plays the obvious rook F5, just hitting the queen right in the face. Queen E6, and now exploiting the weakness on the back rank, rook D takes F7, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Rook E8, and of course just down a pawn because the rook can't be taken. Rook takes F7 just allows mating too. So rook E8, queen F3, bishop F6, rook B7, H6, and now Kamsky's just pretty much just just winning at this point. He's more active and upper pawn. So what more can you ask for? All right. So basically, white has an extra pawn. Okay, better position. Knight stronger than the bishop. So Karpov just tries to throw a couple of monkey wrenches in the position to throw him off, but and that's what keeps the game going on. But basically, black is pretty much lost. Even right here, Kamsky threatens a move. Rook takes F6 because the rook on E8 is not adequately protected. It's only protected by the queen. So rook D8, rook F7. This renews the threat of rook takes F6 again. The rook on the fourth rank. So the bishop moves, check, and Kamsky just simplifies. Queen F3. Of course, threatening queen D3 check. Bishop C5, rook F5, rook C8, H5. And this is good because he just sets up an outpost on G6. And in the ideal world, white would like to put the knight over there. Some more harassment in the position, and Kamsky just optimizes his pieces here. F4 is played. Rook D8, Queen F3, Bishop D4, Rook E2, B5, Knight D2, Bishop B6, Knight E4. And now Queen D1. Here's another mistake by Anatoly Karpov. So Karpov says that instead of this move, Queen D1, Queen C7 could have been better. But even better still is probably a move like Bishop D4, centralizing this piece right here. So Queen D1. Knight F4, Knight F2, Queen B1, Knight G4, And there's pretty much nothing that Karpov can do here. 95, King G8, and that loses right on the spot. That's just a pure time pressure move right here. And then just knight C6, threatening knight D8, of course, the rook, and knight E7. So that was a wrap. So, and that's probably Karpov's worst game of the whole entire match. In closing on this particular game right here, let me just say that again, Karpov was often, like, not often, because he wouldn't have been world champion, but again, susceptible to those type of tactical blows and those type of positions that it seemed like there's really nothing going on in the position. Another issue too is we have to remember that Karpov is known too for getting tired in matches. We saw that especially at the end of his peak years when he was about 30, 31 or so. In his first match with Kasparov, him leading 5-0, needing one game to win the match, he couldn't win the match. He started getting fatigued and very tired, and there was a bunch of draws, and then next thing you know, he lost like two straight, and then they canceled the match, and that history already. So those two factors, Karpov being older here, having the same, those traits of falling, into traps at times, and just getting fatigued, definitely played their part in the second half of the match, because he definitely did not dominate Kamsky in this second half of the match, and he had tremendous troubles for some reason with the Queen's Indian. So that's it for this game, and sorry for the dogs barking in the background, but we'll see you on the next video.